the Even G1, and they're smart glasses that actually look good. I'm Basil, you're watching Tech Edit, and if it's been a while since you put tech on your face, I don't blame you. Facial tech has been pretty clunky and bulky up until now, but these smart spectacles change the game. The Even G1 glasses aren't trying to film everything like a GoPro on your face, and neither are they trying to replace your smartphone or even your smartwatch. Instead, they focus on a few things, but they do them surprisingly well, displaying useful information on an easy-to-read screen right before your very eyes. I've been using them for the last few weeks, and at times they really do just feel like an extra brain that I can offload stuff that I otherwise might forget. I'm going to dive into all the details in a second, but first a quick shout out. Thank you to Even Realities for sponsoring this video. Of course, if you're not already subscribed to Tech Edit, please do. It's how you stay on top of everything that I do. And if you want to know more information about these glasses, I'll link through to everything in the description and pinned comment below. Right, now let's get into the details and talk about these pretty awesome glasses. The Even G1 weigh less than many regular glasses. They're made of magnesium alloy, and when I'm wearing them, I don't feel any like pressure points on my temples. There are no indents in my nose even after a few hours, and so they're just generally super comfortable. In fact, I gave these glasses to loads of people to try on, and everyone who I gave them to was really surprised. They couldn't tell they were smart glasses initially, but then when I started talking about them and they were like, "Basil, you're wearing glasses, you never wear glasses," I let them try them, and everyone found them to be super comfortable, and they looked good. It's no surprise, Even Reality tested these glasses with 10,000 head molds to make sure comfort and style were both spot on. If you're wondering how you interact with them, the smart contact points are at the end of the stem, and there's one on each side. Each does a different thing. When I'm holding them like this, the touch points at the end look a little bit bulky compared to the rest of the slim frame, but tucked away behind your ear, they disappear. I don't notice them when I'm wearing them, and people who I was speaking to didn't notice them either. But the touch points are relatively easy to tap unless you're wearing over-ear headphones. Now, I did wear over-ear headphones with these, and they were perfectly comfortable, but it just does render the touch points inaccessible. Genuinely, I'm walking down the street with these. I've got navigations displaying on the screen in front of me, and onlookers walking past me, I don't get any funny looks. These look premium and expensive, but they don't scream gadget. Available in green, brown, and grey. They support prescription lenses and clip-on shades. They also fit in the charging case both with and without the clip-on shades, so no need for an extra case for the shades if you don't want one. The battery life of the glasses is up to 36 hours, and depending on how many AI queries you're going to ping its way, that may change a little bit, but with the case you get up to 5 days, so either way it's going to be really good for a long weekend away, for example. The case has a magnetic flap, and it should fit in a larger coat pocket or a bag. Okay, so how do they work? Is the screen always on? Absolutely not. You have to tilt your head up ever so slightly, and in fact in the app you can set the angle that activates the screen. Once you go past that angle, the green display is going to activate and you'll see some key information. The screen's super visible when it's overcast at night or indoors, and on a bright sunny day just look at something with a darker background and it will be easy to read, or you can wear the clip-on sunglass lens and that makes everything look really clear as well. When you fire up the display, you can set what it shows, but by default it shows calendar appointments, weather, notes, and notifications. Within the app that's available for iOS and Android, you can customize what's on screen, so you can make it even simpler. I've mentioned the touch points on the temples, and that's how you control the glasses. Again, you can customize what these do in the settings, but a long press of the right temple point will activate voice recording, so you can record up to 30 seconds. The glasses will use AI to transcribe what you say and summarize what you say into actionable points, but you're not going to see the full note in your field of vision, just a truncated preview. For the full note, you will need to dive into the app on your smartphone. And if you long press the temporal left side element, then that will activate voice assistant powered by ChatGPT. So you literally do have a second brain, and not just any brain, a very, very intelligent brain on your face. Now, there are no speakers on here, so it doesn't tell you the response from ChatGPT, and what it does do is it displays it on screen. So I mentioned I'd give you an idea as to what these are like to use day in, day out, and I'm going to do that by running through the functions and say how they came in handy for me in my time testing these. Take navigation, for example. Whether it's a really nice day outside and you just want to enjoy it without constantly looking at your phone, or you just want to feel safer in a city, you can get navigation on the Even G1 by firing the destination into your application, and then your phone can stay in your pocket and you can follow the instructions on screen. I used that a little bit and it was great at times, but depending on the phone I was using, certain Android phones may have aggressive battery management. So if they close the application, then your navigation directions were lost. So definitely do bear that in mind. The navigation relies on a super stable connection between the glasses and the phone. The feature I probably used the most though was the voice recording. I was in a busy restaurant, really loud, but I just long pressed the right stem and it recorded a voice note. It transcribed it near perfectly and summarized the key points. And this is how the Even G1 became kind of my second brain while I was using it. In fact, most of the script of this video was recorded in ad hoc points, summarized, transcribed as I was experiencing them, and then I stitched them together so I didn't forget anything. So if you're looking for an on-the-go capture tool that's a little bit more subtle than recording into your smartphone or even a smartwatch if it has that function, the Even G1 isn't subtle because it's on your face, but the process of recording feels a little bit more streamlined. Another feature that I used all the time was AI Assistant powered by ChatGPT. You know how good it is, but I used it in a different way to how I'd use it on my computer. For example, if I was going to a shop and I wanted to make sure it was open rather than pulling out my phone, I was just like, what time does Marks and Spencer's close, or something like that. And I really appreciated, again, being able to leave my phone in my bag, in my pocket. There are a couple of features I used a little bit less. There's a teleprompt mode, for example, and through the app you can insert a script and then you can generate a teleprompt that displays on screen. You can set the speed for it. I didn't find this to be super natural to use, but it is there. And there's a translation service as well on here. This is available in a free and paid version. And if you do want to have two-way conversations, I'd probably stump up for the pro version. However, if you just want someone who's speaking to you for that text to be translated, then the standard version was good enough, especially in French, Spanish, and English. So in a turn for the books, I'm going to keep using these, even though I'm not a glasses wearer. I love tech. I think they look pretty great. And also I like being able to keep my phone in my pocket a little bit more, but they're just very, very cool. I'm also intrigued to see how the software experience evolves. And that brings me to my limitations of the glasses. While the design is pretty much there, I have a couple of things on my wish list for how I'd like these to improve in the future. Firstly, it does a great job of recording, transcribing, and summarizing notes, but I alluded to the fact you can't open individual notes on the glasses. So for example, I'd really appreciate being able to tap the stem and get into my shopping list. So I'd like to see that come via a software update at some point. I'd also love the Even G1 to tap into my phone's voice assistant, so Siri or Gemini. Now, don't get me wrong, I prefer ChatGPT. It's generally more accurate than both of them for most things in my experience. But if it could tap into my phone's voice assistant, I could control things like set calendar appointments, reminders, etc. And that, I feel, is a bit of a missed trick. Now, I spoke to Even Realities about this voice assistant request of mine, and the response gave me a really nice insight into the ethos behind these glasses. They said they don't want them to be too smart. They want them to be clean, streamlined from the outside to the inside. And that really does come through. I gave these to my mum. She's in her mid-70s, and she was using them, and she found them to be very cool and simple. And so I can see where Even Realities going, but perhaps for a geek like me who is constantly looking for a greater degree of seamlessness and connectedness between my tech, that's where my wish list stems from. And as I was talking about when I covered navigation, for some Android phones like the Nubia Z70S Ultra and the Honor 400 Pro, which have more aggressive background task management. I found connectivity died, which is a real bummer for things like navigation. For more mainstream brands, Samsung, for example, I found it to be a lot more consistent, and iPhones too. So if you're picking these up, do just bear in mind you may occasionally, if you're using an Android phone, need to open the application on the phone to keep the connection alive. Honestly, I'm really surprised I didn't have more of an issue with these glasses given my experience with smart tech. And so while it's still really early days, the Even G1 are the first set of smart glasses with a display that make me think these could be the future, and more to the point, they make me think the future's kind of here already. It's only gonna get better, but this is already good enough to be inconspicuous, stylish, and functional. So who are these actually for? I think they're actually really good for a lot of people. Attention spans are on the down. Mine, my friends, were all finding that it's harder to pay attention. Is it just getting older, or is it because of social media, or what? I don't know, but these glasses help me to capture stuff. I've got 3 jobs. My brain is always overloaded. A lot of people are hustling hard at the moment. And with that in mind, having an extra repository to just take stuff out of my mind and free up some space is very welcome. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that. Anything that cuts through the digital clutter. And that's ironic when tech does that, but the Even G1 is that kind of tech. They're also great for anyone who doesn't want to wear a smartwatch and just wants a regular watch, or wants to disable notifications on their smartwatch or fitness tracker. Your notifications do come through on these glasses. I didn't mention that, but they can be very on your terms. Obviously in the app, you can limit what notifications appear or whether they appear at all. But if you do have them set, they come in really inconspicuous previews that just appear in the top of your field of vision. And so if you couldn't already tell, in my time with the Even G1, I've been pretty impressed. I'm curious though, what do you think? Are you like me? Could you do with a second brain to offload stuff onto, or is this actually just going to add to your digital noise rather than cut through it? Let me know with a comment. Of course, if you want to find out more about these glasses, you can check out the pinned comment and the description. And a quick shout out, thank you to Even Realities once again for sponsoring this video. Have a wonderful day.